What are the chances of finding yourself 20 miles out to sea, surrounded by whales? Not bad, actually.
Okay, good. We're surrounded. There's a humpback whale at 8 o'clock. So one of our humpback whales has surfaced just back behind us here. Hold on, we're going to swing, and that younger finback whale is up off the bow by the seals.
This is Bob Duchesne's Wild Maine on Sports Radio 92.9 The Ticket. Every Saturday morning at 9 a.m., we'll explore the fun and adventure of Maine's great outdoors, and sometimes its issues and challenges. Coming up later on today's show, a 20-minute whale watch. Highlights of a voyage on the Atlantic Cat, a Bar Harbor whale watch boat. We'll take a 4-hour boat trip and squeeze it all down into about 20 minutes of puffins and seabirds and petite banana, and then go out and find a whole bunch of finback and humpback whales and get ourselves up close and personal. Bob Duchesne's Wild Maine is brought to you by Hammond Lumber, O'Neill's Power Equipment, Old Town Trading Post, Dysarts, EBS, and Napa Auto Parts. Before we get to the whales, let's celebrate another boat. The SS Katahdin was built at Bath Iron Works in 1914. It celebrates 100 years this week. There's a whole week of fun coming up on Moosehead Lake. We'll tell you how to party on the Cape this week in the first part of today's show. Liz Cannell is at the Moosehead Marine Museum. Welcome to Bob Duchesne's Wild Maine.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Certainly. The Katahdin is 100 years old, and I guess I need to straighten out, first of all, what do you personally call her? The Katahdin, Kate, Lady Kate?
Well, she's officially the SS Katahdin.
Yeah.
And those of us who are local and have been brought up in this area, she's become such a part of our environment, and we affectionately call her the Kate.
Yeah, she's part of the family.
She is.
Indeed. All right, Centennial Week starts on Monday, so what is happening?
Well, we've actually got several different activities planned. We are, the Moosehead Historical Society is working with us, and they are going to do a presentation on the 13th, which is Wednesday night, and they're going to have a gentleman named Rocky Rockwell, who used to be a captain on the boat, and he's going to share stories of what it was like to participate in the last log drive.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he's a fantastic storyteller.
That should be great.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun, and that's at 7 p.m. at the Center for Moosehead History. Then on Friday, the Moosehead Lake Yacht Club is starting their biannual antique boat show, and they are focusing this year on 100-year-old boats in honor of the Kate's 100th birthday. And they are going to bless the fleet at 4 o'clock in the afternoon here down here at the dock by the Katahdin. And then we're going to have a little boat parade, and we're going to take all of the antique boats with the Katahdin in the lead over to West Cove and kind of show off all of their finery.
Well, how many 100-year-old boats are there?
I have no idea.
Yeah, it can't be many.
Not that many, but there are actually enthusiasts who restore wooden boats, and naturally a lot of them are much smaller pleasure boats.
Yeah.
But, we are not restricting this, and nor is the Yacht Club, restricting it to just 100-year-old boats. But they're hoping that they can,
Those old, the old wooden Chris Craft boats were just fantastic boats.
Yes.
Yeah.
There are a number of them here on the lake, and so it should be a pretty spectacular thing to see.
So you've got that antique boat parade. You've got fireworks coming up.
We do. On Saturday is the big day when Kate turns 100, and in the evening from 5 to 7, we're going to have sort of a public birthday party for her, and we have a big cake shaped like the boat. We're going to have kids' activities. We're having a popcorn machine donated by Bangor Savings. And we've also got a special public presentation at 6:30 from the boat, and we're going to have the town fathers read a proclamation. We have invited several of our state and national legislators to come and attend, and so there will be some comments from them, I'm sure, just to sort of really officially celebrate this fantastic event.
And it's an election year, so they'll be there.
See? And that's what we were thinking. So I feel bullish about that.
Right.
And I really appreciate that the boat had such good planning as to have her hundreds on an election year.
Right.
And so then thereafter, from 7 to 9, we're going to do a nice cruise in the southern part of the lake with wine and beer and hors d'oeuvres, and it will culminate in a pretty spectacular fireworks display. We had planned originally to have fireworks, but unfortunately the town didn't have their fireworks on the 4th of July. It was kind of a washout.
Oh, yeah.
And they generously donated their fireworks to our display. So it's going to be quite a spectacular thing.
Well, I have to ask, who combines pyrotechnics in an old wooden flammable boat?
Only if you're in Greenville, Maine.
Yeah.
Yeah. I did have that conversation with my captain, and he looked at me kind of funny and then took to immediately deciding what was the best distance to be away from the fireworks.
Yeah, pick that and then double it.
Exactly,
Yeah.
and, I think it'll be okay. We're very cognizant of safety aboard the Katahdin.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's a special cruise. What are the requirements for making reservations? What's the cost for that one in particular?
That cruise costs $50 per person, and people can reserve the cruise by calling our ticket office. The number for the ticket office is 695-2716. We can take credit cards over the phone, or if they're in town, which is really what we would prefer, they can always stop by and make a reservation in person.
Mm-hmm. And I'm going to make you repeat all that later because I want people to really be able to write this down. So,
I love to repeat myself.
well, yeah, when they grab paper and pencil, while they do that, we can continue talking about other cruises you've got coming up. You have rock and roll cruises now and then.
We do. August 23rd, we have a cruise with Rock and Ron, who is a very popular band in this area. They do sort of 60s and 70s rock and roll and dance music, and we have people come aboard and they can bring their own booze. We have a full galley on board, so we're open for the sale of food and soft drinks and such. And in the evening, it's really kind of a fantastic thing to do because you can kind of dance to some of your favorite tunes and enjoy the sunset on Moosehead Lake, and it's really a good time.
New Society Band has been around so long, I think that Rock and Ron played on the very first cruise 100 years ago.
As a matter of fact, I suspect he did.
Yeah. We're checking in with Liz at the Moosehead Marine Museum. The steamship Katahdin celebrates 100 years next week. There's some formal events coming up, and you can always create your own. Some people do. That's next as Bob Duchesne's Wild Maine continues on Sports Radio 92.9 The Ticket. Welcome back to Bob Duchesne's Wild Maine on Sports Radio 92.9 The Ticket. Later on today's show, a 20-minute whale watch. That's either a very fast boat or a lot of fast editing, or both. Right now, we're getting the lowdown about the Katahdin. The steamship celebrates 100 years next week. I've got Liz Cannell on the line from the Moosehead Marine Museum, and whenever I'm in the Greenville area, it seems that I often see a private party in the Cape, or even a wedding. Is that right, Liz?
Yes, we actually do a number of charters, and we are happy to talk to people about the rates to rent the boat for a party. We've done everything from weddings to family reunions to birthday parties, and we are happy to work with groups to accommodate their needs.
Mm-hmm. Now, what is your normal cruise schedule where any tourist or anybody staying in the area can just walk right up and go for a boat ride?
We cruise Tuesday through Saturday at 12:30 p.m. Most of the cruises are the 3-hour cruise, but every other Wednesday we take a longer cruise that goes up behind Kineo Mountain, where you can see the peregrine falcons that nest there, and you can hear the echo off of the back of the cliff face, and that one takes about 4.5 hours, so we return around 5 p.m.
Mm-hmm. And what's the normal cost?
The normal cost for the 3-hour cruise is $33 for adults, $29 for seniors, $18 for youth age 11 to 16, and $3 for children 10 and under.
I did it once, but it had to be like 8 years ago or more, and it was well worth the money. It was just spectacular.
It's really the only way to see the lake.
Yeah.
Because, we do have certainly some nice drives around Moosehead and some very nice views. But for the most part, the roads around here don't offer a direct view of the lake.
No, they really don't.
So you have to be on the boat, to really truly appreciate the size and scope and magnificence of this lake. And so, the Cape offers an opportunity to do that.
Yeah, you can get a good view from Blair Hill, and then that's it.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Or go to Rockwood, which,
Yeah.
So, it's really the only way to kind of get out and get a good feel for how large and amazing this lake is.
Now, at least once a year, you do a full cruise head of the lake, which I think comes in September?
It does.
Yeah.
September 27th, and in fact, we've just been discussing with my chef on board what we're going to offer for the lunch on that cruise, and we're looking at probably doing a full Thanksgiving dinner. So you board at 10 o'clock in the morning in Greenville, and we cruise you up to Seboomic, and which is the entire other end of the lake.
Yeah.
And on the way, you have a full Thanksgiving dinner and have the opportunity to just relax and see the entire Moosehead Lake.
Why don't you go all the way up to Seboomic, grab some logs, and boom them back, just for authenticity?
Well, we certainly do have the capacity to do that.
Yeah.
Although the powers that be might have some issues with us regarding having passengers aboard when we do.
I suppose. Well, this was built at Bath Iron Works 100 years ago. Now, how did it get to Moosehead Lake? Because that's a big boat.
Well, it was kind of planes, trains, and automobiles, except the 20th century version. The boat was built and shipped in 3 pieces. It was taken by train to, I think, Dexter, Maine, and then it was brought the rest of the way by ox cart. And, yeah, I know, those oxes, they must have been so tired.
I have been behind that kind of caravan before.
Yes, yeah. I actually, some days I have too.
Yeah.
So, and then it was assembled in Greenville Junction.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all she wrote.
Now, there were once a whole lot of steamboats in the lake.
There were over 50 steamboats, and the numbers vary when you ask different people, but as well as we can figure, it was around 55 steamboats. Some were for pleasure, but most were for transportation of people and goods.
Mm-hmm. And even this one is really preceded by another Katahdin. Isn't this the Katahdin 2?
It is.
Yeah.
The Katahdin 1 burned in 1913.
Well, didn't most of them? It's like...
Yes, they did. Well, they were steamboats.
Yeah, steamboats with
fire.
Coal on board. They're either burning wood,
right.
And the boats are made out of wood, so yeah, a lot of them, I think, went down.
Exactly, in which case the fireworks don't look so bad after,
Historically.
A lot of the boats actually also, when the owners were done with them, some would be burned deliberately to the waterline and sunk.
Mm-hmm.
Others would be scuttled. And so there are a number of wrecks of boats around the shores of Moosehead Lake.
I mean, do divers go down and just look at them now and then?
Yes,
Oh.
I have a map right in my office here.
Oh, really?
The museum actually commissioned a diver probably about 10 years ago. I haven't taken a close look at what the dates actually were. And the person went down and actually mapped a number of these wrecks. Mm. And so it's kind of a fascinating concept, although if you're in a kayak or a canoe, it can be a little creepy to think about.
Yeah. It's all the joys of wreck diving without the sharks.
Exactly.
Yeah. Now, there were some luxury steamboats, too, because they were serving, like the Kineo Hotel. And,
yes.
What was the mix, do you know, of working boats versus pleasure boats, let's say 100 years ago?
Well, here's the thing. Most of the bigger steamships were both. For example, the Katahdin, if you come aboard, if you've ever been aboard, her lower deck is kind of rustic. And that's the area where they would have kept anything from logs to the mail to supplies for the hotels and the logging camps to livestock and, food. And then the upper deck is really rather luxurious. It's got beautiful dark finished wood, and it has got green velvet seating so that the fine ladies would have a comfortable place to ride while they were on their way up to Kineo and to some of the other destinations. So most of these boats sort of served double purposes.
Now, this was a steamboat, obviously, but it was converted to diesel. I don't remember when, or for that matter, why.
In the 20s.
Yeah, okay.
In the 20s.
So it really wasn't a steamboat for very long.
No, it wasn't.
No. Now, why did everybody, when you get so much wood there, why would anyone want to import, let's say, diesel or coal?
Well, for one thing, we don't want it to burn.
Yeah.
I do believe that that they're switching over to a diesel engine. Probably is the reason that she managed to last as long as she did. Furthermore, my understanding is that a diesel engine will be more efficient, and I'm guessing that the cost was nobody's going to do something like that if it's going to cost more. I think that they probably did it so that they could operate more efficiently, and they might have had more horsepower.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, steamboats, of course, did go all the way up to Seboomic in order to gather the logs, but I forget how long the water level of Moosehead has been dam controlled. Was there a time when it was a lot more treacherous to go up into the shallower ends of the lakes?
That's a good question, and I do not know the answer to that.
All right. Next time we talk, I'm going to expect an answer.
All right, then. I will study up.
All right. Let's go over the schedule again. The schedule of actual events coming up for next week are?
We're having the speaking event with Rocky Rockwell on Wednesday, the 13th of August at the Center for Moosehead History.
Mm-hmm.
And that, by the way, we didn't talk about that. That's by donation.
Okay.
So there's not an admission price for that.
And why don't you remind everybody where that is, too, because I'm not sure everyone knows.
The Center for Moosehead History is at, you had to ask me the address. It's essentially right next to, it's the old community house building right next to where we're located in East Cove in Greenville.
And you can see it from really Main Street.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a piece of history itself. That's an old building. I like that building.
It is. It's quite beautiful, and they've got a lovely auditorium upstairs with great acoustics, and stained glass windows, and it's just a really good space to go and listen to somebody talk about the history of the area.
So you've got that. I forget, was there a price to that? Oh, that was donation.
By donation, yep.
Okay, and what was the hour again?
7 p.m.
Okay, and then moving on?
And then moving on Friday, we have at 4 o'clock p.m., 12 Lily Bay Road, which is where the Katahdin is docked, the Blessing of the Fleet for the Antique Boat Show, followed by a stately parade of boats over to West Cove and back.
And fireworks?
And the fireworks cruise for Saturday the 16th starts at 7 p.m. Prior to that, we're going to have sort of a community celebration here dockside with activities for the kids and some birthday cake and some public comments from some VIPs.
Okay. And lastly, of course, how can people find out information on their own on, let's say, the web?
Well, our website is www.katahdincruises.com, and it is up to date. I updated it just the other day. And then they can also call us at 695-2716 and ask us on the phone.
Great. Well, Liz, as I said, I've been out once before. I really got to do it again, and I'll pick a time and come join you sometime.
I certainly hope you will, and I would like to invite all of your listeners to stop by and visit with us, either to take a cruise or to look through the museum and to really enjoy Greenville and Moosehead Lake. It's a spectacular time of year, and it's a beautiful place to visit.
Well, I'll tell all my listeners about it, and I hope both can go.
Thank you. I appreciate that. It was great having a chance to talk to you.
That's Liz Cannell at the Moosehead Marine Museum. The steamship Katahdin blows out 100 candles this coming week. I hope there's cake. Coming up next on Bob Duchesne's Wild Maine, we're going to take a 4-hour boat ride on the Atlantic Cat and squeeze hundreds of puffins, thousands of seabirds, and a half dozen or more whales into 20 minutes. The 20-Minute Whale Watch in just a moment on Sports Radio 92.9 The Ticket. This is Bob Duchesne's Wild Maine on Sports Radio 92.9 The Ticket. Welcome aboard and take a seat. This is the 20-Minute Whale Watch. We're on the biggest, fastest whale watch boat in North America. We're about to head for Petite Manan, an island just up the coast from Scudic Point, where there's a big colony of puffins. Then we're heading out for whales. No need for Dramamine unless this show itself usually makes you nauseous. The voice you hear is the chief naturalist for Bar Harbor Whale Watch, Zach Kleiber. And here we go.
Hey folks, we are about to pull away from the dock. If you're out on the bow or the top of the boat, please do cover your ears. We're going to have a series of loud horn blasts to let other boats know that we're backing up. Okay, well, again, good morning, everyone. Welcome aboard the Atlantic Cat. Great to have you here today. We have a beautiful day. Looking forward to a great trip for you. I'll be your guide on this trip. My name is Zach. I am talking to you from the top of the boat. Grab a seat right now. We have a 35-minute boat ride to get 35 to 45 minutes to get to the island where the puffins nest. We're going to stop there for 10 or 15 minutes, and then we have a half-an-hour boat ride to get offshore to where the whales are. We hope you enjoy this beautiful boat, the Atlantic Cat. This is our first trip on this boat this year. This boat is 130 feet long and can do about 35 miles per hour. Now, when we're done visiting the island where the puffins are, we're going to head out to the whale feeding grounds. That's why the whales are here. This is an area where the whales come each summer to feed on plankton and fish. And out off the coast of Maine, once you get 15 to 20 miles offshore, the water depth drops off. There's a shelf out there where the water depth drops from 300 to 600 feet. And it's right there at that shelf break that there's a lot of cold water welling up from below. And a whole food chain is created there where you can consistently go and find more whales. Humpback, finback, minke whale, right whale. These are the four larger species we see because there's a lot of food there for them, right? That's why they're here all summer feeding. Now, some of them go during the winter months without food. For example, the humpback whales that are here will migrate to the Dominican Republic and Puerto Rico, and when they're down there, they're mating, they're giving birth to their young, and they're not eating. A large female humpback whale can lose 20,000 pounds of weight over the winter. Okay, if you have a hat, you may want to take it off or turn it around if you don't want to lose it if you're out in the wind. Just be careful when we pick up speed or if you're out on the bow. Unless it's a Yankees hat, then just leave it alone. Oh, there's a porpoise at 11 o'clock right here in front of us going towards 10 o'clock. There's some harbor porpoise now. Going at 10 o'clock, about 100 feet off the left side if they come up again, moving toward 9 o'clock now. It looks like they're down underwater, but look back towards 8 o'clock and you may see them. That was a handful of the little harbor porpoise. And I know not everyone saw them, but for those of you that did, you could see they had a little triangular fin, dark-colored, quickly leaping over the water, and a cold water species of porpoise that ranges from Maine all the way north to Greenland.
The voice you hear is Zach Kleiber, chief naturalist of the Bar Harbor Whale Watch. After a fast and scenic trip across Frenchman's Bay, we're closing in on Petite Banane Island, home to one of Maine's biggest seabird colonies. There's hundreds of nesting puffins out here.
And there on the island, there are 11 species of seabird that nest there. There's a bird called the Leach's storm petrel that nests and burrows underground, a nocturnal seabird, really a beautiful little bird. They come here from Antarctica. We have three types of tern that we can see here. There's about 1,500 pairs of common tern that nest on the island. There are about 800 pairs of Arctic tern, and then there's always one or two pairs or a handful of roseate tern, which is an endangered species. Now, you must know these birds called terns. The Maine fishermen call them sea swallows. They're very long, pointed wings, forked tail, beautiful. The Arctic tern is the one that's world famous, right? This is the bird that migrates from the North Pole to the South Pole. Recently, they've been putting geolocators on them, which they satellite track the birds, and they found one that flew 46,000 miles on migration. It flew down to Antarctica, then it flew almost around to Australia on the other side of the Earth, flew back, then flew up the entire coast of South America, all the way back here to Maine to nest. They can live 35 years of age. If you do your math, the Arctic tern is a bird that can fly maybe as much as 2 million miles in their lifetime. Another bird that rivals that is the red knot. Another shorebird that also flies that migration north to South Pole. I know Bob, who's on board, he writes for a local Bangor newspaper and does a radio show on wildlife. He's written extensively about the red knot. He's called it the moon bird. That's another name for it. A bird that could literally fly to the moon back in its lifetime. So these birds have remarkable adaptations. More porpoise. Yep, more porpoise over on the left side there, 10 o'clock. Beautiful day for seeing porpoise and wildlife. You can also look out for sharks, sea turtles, tuna, sunfish. There's the porpoise at 9 o'clock. They just came up in the wake of the sailboat over there. So keep your eyes on the water. Just a really great day for seeing wildlife on the surface.
That's a good place to stop for a moment and clarify something. I have written about the red knot, a world champion migrant, and I have called it the moonbird, but credit for the name goes to Philip Hoos, an author from southern Maine who wrote about one particular red knot that was tagged with the number B95. That bird is one little guy who has defied the odds during one hazardous migration after another, but that's another story. Up next on Bob Duchesne's Wild Maine, we'll grab some puffins, then head out and grab some whales on Sports Radio 92.9 The Ticket. This is Bob Duchesne's Wild Maine on Sports Radio 92.9 The Ticket. We're on board the morning run of the Bar Harbor Whale Watch boat. It's a 4-hour trip, but we're whacking the highlights down into something we call the 20-minute whale watch. Zach Cliver is chief naturalist. The morning run visits the puffin colony at Petit Manan Island, but there are more than just puffins here.
Okay, so there are 4 birds in the puffin family we can see here. So not just puffins. There are 3 birds in the puffin family that nest here. The puffin, the black guillemot, and the razorbill all nest here at Petit Manan. And then there's a very good chance for us to see the common murre, a larger bird in the puffin family that don't nest here, but all do visit here often. They nest a little bit farther up the coast at Machias Seal Island. Now, if we went up the coastline here another 35 miles, we'd arrive at Machias Seal Island, an island that has a great abundance of puffins and murres and razorbill. And this summer, a very special arrival from Alaska, a tufted puffin. Tufted puffin. The last one was seen in 1830. Here's a puffin at 10 o'clock, and then there's 3 more. So it looks like 4 of them close to us here at 10 o'clock. And then you'll probably see a bunch of them right in close to the island. There's some razorbill and puffins there at 9 o'clock. There's 2 puffins flying towards the light tower. There is another little group of razorbill below the lighthouse in the water there. It looks like 3 razorbills there. And then there's lots of puffins and some razorbills on the rocks there right below the lighthouse. Okay, here's a puffin at 3 o'clock with fish, with some fish in its mouth, flying at 2 o'clock, going towards the island. It's going to try to get into the island without the gulls stealing the fish from it, right? So it can deliver those fish to its young. It'll go land in the rocks and then go into a burrow down underground. All the puffins nest in crevices and cracks down in the rocks underground. There's a little squadron of razorbill. There's 4 of them between us and the lighthouse here at 11 o'clock. You're seeing lots of puffins and terns continually. If you're looking out in the ocean, they're flying in with little fish to feed their young. Okay, Bob has just spotted some murres for us out there in the water at 12 o'clock. Thank you. So up there ahead of us looks like some common murre for bird watchers, trying to add new species to your life list. So what's interesting about the birds in the puffin family, there are 22 species. They're all found in the northern hemisphere above the equator. All 17 types of penguin are found in the southern hemisphere. Okay, so birds in the puffin family fill the same niche here in the north as penguins do to the south. There's a nice mixed group there of all 3, murre, razorbill, and puffin together right between us and the lighthouse. Those young puffins that are here, when they're ready to leave, they do so usually the latter half of August. And the baby puffins, they don't fly off the island. They're flightless when they leave. So at nighttime, they waddle down over the rocks and seaweed, and they swim out to sea. They will not touch land again for 5 or 6 years.
After about 15 minutes, we've had a real eyeful of all the puffins and seabirds, but there are whales out there waiting for us.
We are going to start to move away from Petite Manan now and start to make our way out to the whale watching ground. So get your last looks at puffins here on the left side here. But really, one of the most important seabird nesting islands in the Gulf of Maine is Petite Manan. So we hope you've enjoyed visiting it. And we'll start to make our way out to the whale watching ground. So we have about a half an hour to 40 minutes or so to get out there. Enjoy the ride, and we'll start to make our way out into the open ocean, and we're going to head on the way out. The water depth under the boat will be 100 to 200 feet, but when we arrive out there, it'll drop off. There's a shelf 300 feet into 700 feet of water. We're going out to two underwater sea mountains called the East Bumps, and it's there that we've been having good luck with whales, and so we're going to go right back to where we left whales last night on our third trip of the day, and that's where we'll start our search effort this morning.
We're now about 20 miles offshore, and the real search for whales begins. Several false alarms are actually pleasant surprises. At one point, there was a basking shark, so close to the boat that our spotter couldn't see it. Then, several ocean sunfish popped up. These mola mola have big dorsal fins that stick high out of the water. Meanwhile, we are surrounded by thousands of birds, and not just any birds. These have just arrived from the South Atlantic.
Looks like a flock of shearwaters up there. Ooh, did you smell that? There was a kind of a bit of a foul smell a moment ago. That was probably some whale's breath. Right, we're downwind of where the whales are, and if they've been feeding on fish, you can sometimes smell for their breath, and that was some whale's breath. So there may be whales somewhere close to us now, just up ahead of us. This is shearwaters we're seeing. That's a good sign that we're getting out. Looks like a lot of great shearwater. You can also look for sooty and Manx shearwater and northern fulmar. They're at 1 o'clock. There's a big group of them on top of the water here. And some of them in flight, you'll see them flap, glide, and sail right over the top of the water. They shear right over the surface as they fly along. They're now on the right side at 3 o'clock. These are southern hemisphere seabirds called great shearwater visiting us for the summer.
Something you should know about a whale watch: the whales go where the food is. When you finally find one, you can start to find many.
Just one big spout so far. We're still looking that direction. About 12:30 to 1 o'clock, somewhere up in there, 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock. But there was a spout of a larger whale up there. So we have our first whale. It's on the horizon. It's a little ways. There it is, 12 o'clock. Okay, there it is. It's back up again. Directly at 12 o'clock. There's a second one. So there's two. There's two out there. At least two larger whales directly at 12 o'clock. So hold on and we'll move that direction. We're headed right toward them. There's the spout again. At 12 o'clock, you can see the blow or the breath of the whale. And there's at least two. There could be more.
Spoiler alert, there are more. We'll take a break while we catch up to them. We're on board the Atlanticat, the largest and fastest whale watch boat in North America. This is Bob Duchesne's Wild Maine on Sports Radio 92.9 The Ticket. You're listening to Sports Radio 92.9 The Ticket. This is Bob Duchesne's Wild Maine, and at this point of the show, we are surrounded by whales. Big ones. At least 5 to 7 finback whales, the second largest whales on Earth. And there's at least 2 humpbacks right here, too. This is something we call the 20-minute whale watch, part of a 4-hour cruise on board the Atlanticat with Bar Harbor Whale Watch. Zach Cliver is head naturalist and today's spotter, and he has just spotted a very unusual bird out here with us.
Here is a Jaeger at 10 o'clock, or a skua at 10 o'clock flying away from us. All dark-colored bird. This looks like a Jaeger. The Jaeger at 10, maybe at 10 and 11 o'clock flying along with us, right beside the boat. Right beside the boat.
Jaeger is the German word for hunter, and these guys are mean.
So for bird watchers, a Jaeger directly at 9 o'clock, that's a pirate-like seabird that steals fish from other birds on the wing. An aggressive hawk-like bird chases them down. Okay, so quite a few blows or spouts up there. Oh, that looks like a humpback whale at 12 o'clock. Look for a tail here at some point. Here comes the tail. And there's the tail of that whale diving down. That was a terminal dive. That whale lifted its tail high up out of the water. Okay, another whale the crew just spotted over at 10:30, 11 o'clock in that direction. There's a finback whale. A finback whale just surfaced at 11 o'clock. So now we have a different species here. So it looks like a mix. Oh, there's another blow, and then there's another blow. So there's quite a lot of whales up ahead of us here. It looks like one of the one closest to us at 11 is a finback. Beyond it is another finback. I'm not sure of the ID at 12 o'clock.
We are now surrounded by whales in every direction.
That looks like another finback too. So it looks like we have at least 3 finbacks and 2 humpback whales right here, just ahead of us. There's the spout, 2 spouts at 11 o'clock, 2 finback whales out there. You can see the trail of footprints here on top of the water at 11 o'clock, where one of the finback whales was just a moment ago. And we're somewhere close to where the humpbacks went down. See that trail of footprints up there at 12 o'clock? That's where the humpbacks dove. They dove down. They're on a deeper dive. They lifted their tails up. There's the finbacks.
Every whale watch is a little different. If you've got 1 or 2 whales, they often dive together, and you just have to wait around for a few minutes until they come back up. But today, there are so many that we stay entertained every single minute. Also, finbacks are fast and travel distances quickly. One can dive near you and pop up a mile away minutes later. Humpbacks tend to surface not too far from where they went down, and since they do the tail-up thing, they're usually worth waiting for.
And there's a finback at 12 o'clock, coming kind of this direction, moving from 12 toward 1 o'clock. So we're definitely seeing probably there's at least 5. There's a finback again at 11 o'clock, about a half a mile ahead of us. And so the finback whales are the second largest animal on Earth, and you're getting to see a lot of them here. Up to 89 feet is the record length, normally 40 to 60 feet, and they're shaped like a submarine. They're big and sleek, and they have a big dorsal fin on their back, and they're powerfully built and can swim incredibly fast when they want to.
Another particularly good thing about today's whale watch, the weather. Sometimes it can be breezy out here. Sometimes the swells turn people green. Sometimes it's foggy. Oftentimes the crew doesn't know exactly what to expect until they get out here. But today, the swells from the previous day's storm have subsided. The wind went calm overnight, and the ocean is flat calm on this whale watch. We're not missing anything.
So here we go. 3 o'clock, right beside us. Finback whale has just surfaced about 400 feet off our right side. So there is a nice look coming up here for the right side of the boat. You'll see it's long, sleek, with a big fin set pretty far back on the body. And the finback whale does not lift its tail out of the water. There's more finback whales out there at 9 o'clock. Looks like a bunch of them out there that we haven't even seen yet. Those are different. Okay, over towards those 2 little white boats. Oh, 3 o'clock. There's that finback is up. Okay, good. We're surrounded. There's a humpback. Humpback whale at 8 o'clock. So one of our humpback whales has surfaced just back behind us here. Hold on, we're going to swing. And that younger finback whale is up off the bow by the seals at 12:30. Humpback's there at 10 o'clock. There it is. Very big dorsal fin. That looks like it might be the whale Lace. This looks like Lace. It's got an enormous dorsal fin. And Lace has a beautiful, beautiful tail pattern, if it is Lace. Oh, whale right here, 1 o'clock, right in front of us. Over on the right side, a whale has just surfaced there. Good, we're moving toward the humpback. At any point it could lift its tail up. There's a finback at 3 o'clock. And you can see on the right, oh, here's the tail. Here it comes. Yes. Okay, there it goes, diving down. That is the humpback whale named Lace, a female which I think has been known since the 1980s. We'll have to find out the exact year that it was first sighted, but that is a well-known female. that has just dove down right ahead of us. And, oh, here's a seal blocking the road right in front of us, 12 o'clock. Blocking the road. There's another seal, 12 o'clock, blocking the road again. Okay, these seals are in the road. Gotta go slow. Oh, there's another seal. There's a bunch of seals in the road here, right in front of us. Harbor seals can dive to depths of 1,500 feet. They can stay down for over 20 minutes. They can swim a 4-minute mile. The average size of a humpback whale here in the North Atlantic is 40 to 50 feet. The average size of females is a little bit bigger than males. The record size for a humpback that I'm aware of is 63 feet. The average weight is probably 50 to 60,000 pounds. So this whale Lace that's ahead of us is certainly in that size range. Okay, there's a whale surfacing up there. That could be our whale at 11 o'clock. Good spot. That may be it. Okay, hold on. We're going to push forward. Okay, so at 11 o'clock, there's our whale. Humpback whale, and it's right up ahead of us at 11 o'clock. This time the whale will be on our left side. And look for the tail. At any point it could lift that enormous tail. Get your camera ready, and we'll try to make sure everybody gets a good picture. Okay, there she is. Okay, look for the tail. Okay, how was that for the left side of the boat? She dove down that time and has made a terminal dive, sounding and going down. Okay, so next time we'll try to put the whale on the right side. You can see the footprints across the top of the water there where she was. See that big circular print left there on the surface? That round glassy print is where the whale was. It's the fast-moving water pushed up behind the tail as the whale dives. That water being pushed up and that whale's going straight down. Early whalers wrote in their logbooks that this was oil. They thought the whales were so full of oil that they were leaving big circular slicks of it on top of the water. Okay, she's back up again at 12 o'clock, really moving along with a lot of energy. And hold on, we're going to put the whale on the right side this time and move forward. Our humpback will be at 1 o'clock, and she's right there at about 12:30 to 1 o'clock. It's now, you can see the enormous dorsal fin. That's how I could recognize her quickly. She has a really unique big dorsal. The fins on the back vary to each whale too. Okay, how was that for the right side? Good? All right, so that was a beautiful look at that tail as the whale doves, and Lace has a lace-like tail pattern under there. It's all sorts of, looks like a lace. It's black and white and very beautiful patterning to her tail. Okay, the whale's up at 11 o'clock. Here at 11 o'clock on our left side, our humpback whale, Lace, is back up ahead of us there. So directly at 11 o'clock now. Make some room for your neighbor. The whale's right up here on our left side. This will be a very nice look for the left side of the boat coming up. See if you can get a picture of the tail. Okay, so there she is. You may see the flippers underwater. The average length of the humpback whale's flippers are 9 to 13 feet. The record length, 18 feet for each flipper. They have all the same bones that you have in your arm and hand in their flipper. Okay, so right there at 10 o'clock now. This is going to be a beautiful look. Okay, look for the tail. Okay, how is that for the left side? All right.
At this point, we've seen one basking shark, 3 mola mola, dozens of seals, scores of porpoises, over half a dozen finbacks, and the humpback named Lace has given us a great show. The captain has spun the catamaran around so the people on both sides of the boat have gotten the famous tail-up salute of the humpback. But all good things must come to an end.
Okay, well, we finally found the whales. I'm excited we did. We found a lot of them. We hope you enjoyed it. We still have to pass through an area where there's more whales potentially right in front of us here. We are going to need to start to make our turn and head back towards Bar Harbor now and start to make our migration back. I'm sorry we can't stay out all day. We do have other trips we have to do, but we hope you enjoyed it. It was a beautiful trip out here. We got to see sunfish and seals and porpoise, a beautiful humpback whale. And you're welcome to keep looking out for more life if you want, but we are going to start to make our way back toward Bar Harbor.
And that is the 20-Minute Whale Watch. Puffins leave their nesting islands by the end of August, so the morning run to Petite Banane will end in another week or so. But the whale watches just get better as more whales arrive in the Gulf of Maine through September. More and more seabirds are also showing up now. There's a lot going on out there. And there are a bunch of whale watch boats in Maine to show it to you. This one was with Bar Harbor Whale Watch. The naturalist was Zach Kleiber, and you can find them online at barharborwhales.com. Bob Duchesne's Wild Maine is brought to you by Hammond Lumber, O'Neill's Power Equipment, Old Town Trading Post, Dysarts, EBS, and Napa Auto Parts. Remember our web address if you want to hear the show again or recommend it to others, 929theticket.com. Join me next Saturday morning at 9 a.m. on Sports Radio 92.9 The Ticket.